like to welcome you again to this 2010 IBS School Debate Competition. This is the semi-finals of the debates between the 18 schools in the National Capital District. IBS with its presenting partners, the National Broadcasting Corporation and Kundu 2, our national television service, are proud to bring this school debate involving the 18 schools in NCD and 6 schools in Lane. I'd like to thank you all for coming, and we appreciate everyone's effort, both the teachers and participants. I would like to also acknowledge our sponsors. They are the National Capital District Commission, Daltron, Supreme Industries, Bank South Pacific, Ella Motors, Remington Technologies, and DataNets. We'd also like to thank the Next of Kin Productions for managing our sound system. I am Rose Kwabal, Assistant Lecturer in the School of Business. I am going to be your MC for today. Our judges are, first off, we have Dr. Mark Solon. He is IBS Dean of Institutional Development. Please welcome Dr. Solon. Next, we have Miss Ashwin Enoch. She is one of our lecturers in the School of Business. Please make welcome Miss Ashwin. And we have Mr. Hubert Kikira. He's a lawyer and one of our judges as well. We'll also have Mr. John Iko from Central Business System. He's going to also come and assist our judges. Not forgetting our timekeeper. He's going to monitor our timing for all our sessions. Okay, without further ado, let me now welcome to the stage the first schools for this morning's session, Kila Kila Secondary and Kop Kop College. Kila Kila participants, please make welcome Doreen Ugaya, Anna Babani, Liena Bayo, and Cassandra Isa. Please make welcome the Kila Kila participants. They'll be against Kop Kop College, and Kop Kop College participants are Roger Kumun, Elizabeth Akura, Tanya Kiki, and Daniel Vanalau. Please make welcome the Kop Kop College students. The topic of debate is agriculture is the backbone to the development of PNG. So Kila Kila Secondary is going for the topic and Kop Kop College is going against the topic. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the first speaker of the affirmative side.
Thank you, Mistress of Ceremony. And good morning, educators, the timekeeper, my colleague debaters, the affirmative team and the opposing team, and not forgetting the wonderful audience. My team and I strongly go for the topic and say agriculture is the backbone to the development of Papua New Guinea. Let me define the topic. Agriculture, I have taken 3 main terms, and they're agriculture, backbone, and development. Agriculture is a science or practice of soil cultivation, crop cultivation, harvesting, animal production, and the processing of plant and animal products for human consumption and use, according to Encyclopedia Britannica, Inc., page 168 to 179. While backbone can simply be defined by an illustration that goes like this. Every human being has a backbone that makes a man to sit, stand, and walk upright. But without the backbone, man cannot sit, stand, and walk upright. Similarly, agriculture is the backbone to the development of Papua New Guinea. But without agriculture, there won't be any development in the country. Whereas development is a change that has come about due to new innovations and technology. Okay, let me introduce my team members. I am Doreen Uga, the first speaker of the Affirmative team, and I'll be talking on the social aspect. Anna Babani is the second speaker, and she'll be talking on the economic aspect of the topic. Liana Bai is the third speaker, and she'll be talking on the political aspect, while Cassandra Isa, the last speaker of the Affirmative team, will be summarizing. Now, it's obvious, and we all know that food is the most basic human need. It is undeniable that in Papua New Guinea and other parts of the world, plants and animals were aimed at ensuring that this basic need was met. Moreover, agriculture had developed Papua New Guinea economically, socially, and politically, since Papua New Guinea is a dual economic where traditionally traditional subsistence sector plays a major role in the lives of almost 85% of the entire population. Papua New Guinea is a young developing nation who has been basically depending on the primary sector in terms of exports, has no reason to deny agriculture as a backbone in terms of both export and domestic consumption. However, like other primary sectors such as mining and petroleum, where more skilled laborers are required, agriculture has the great potential to use both the skilled and unskilled labor to maximize the production output at all levels. Since agricultural development took place simultaneously in many areas and thus did not spread from a single originally cause, Papua New Guinea has practiced domesticating animals, cultivating the land long before. Therefore, agriculture is not new to Papua New Guinea. This is more important. Should be given by concerned stakeholders to improve and better the development of the sector in the economy. The concern that agriculture is a backbone to Papua New Guinea is divided into three sections: the social, economic, and political. Papua New Guinea has a landmass of 463,840 kilometers square. As approximately 97% of the land is owned under traditional or customary forms of land tenure. This is called customary land. The remaining 3% is owned by the government. This is alienated land. Land in Papua New Guinea is not viewed as merely a factor of production traditionally. Instead, it is a permanent and integral part of a village community which cannot be sold. The present owners have usage rights only and hold their land in custody for their ancestors and their descendants. As such, the largest single use of agricultural land is for subsistence farming. An increasing amount of customary land is being used for cash earning opportunities despite ownership disputes. There are also large plantation crops run by village enterprises and foreign companies such as coffee, copra, sugar, and oil, palm, etc. Due to civilization and improved technology, agricultural activities in the agriculture sector has contributed and is contributing and will continue to contribute to the economic growth and social life for the development of Papua New Guinea at a larger scale. Therefore, my team and I strongly believe that agriculture is the backbone to the development of Papua New Guinea.
Thank you, first speaker of the affirmative side. Now I'd like to call upon the first speaker of the opposition side.
Good morning, audience, the judges, the government side. My name is Roja Kumin, and I'm going to introduce the topic. Elizabeth Akure, she's going to talk about the economic. Tanya Tiki is going to talk about the human resource of the agriculture. And Daniel is going to rebut and summarize the topic. Okay, before I present the timeline, the topic, I would like to rebut on what she has said, what the first speaker has said. Because of agriculture, there is how development. What has agriculture done to this country for nearly 34 to 35 years of independence? What will this 13% of the GDP that agriculture had contributed to the country with the recent population growth? This customary land contains minerals, resources, gold, oil, copper, and other cash crops used to bring development. Now to my point. Before I present our timeline on the topic, I would like to define two terms in which very important for us all to understand. Firstly, backbone means something that supports something else because of its value. In this case, it has been said that PNG can depend on because it is more important as the major revenue earner or that agriculture is the major industry that supports the country economically. Secondly, as stated in Oxford Advanced Learners Dictionary, agriculture is the science or practice of farming. And farming includes husbandry, cash crop, and even our food crops farming. Also, according to Agriculture Papua New Guinea, agriculture is divided into two large sectors. However, as stated in the same report, agriculture's importance has steadily declined since 1985. When it made up to 34% of GDP 2001, agriculture only contributed 30% of GDP, and I repeat, agriculture only contributed 30%. The same report states that of all the export earning, forestry contributes 4% GDP, marine 1% GDP, minerals and oil 82% of GDP, agriculture 13% of GDP. And the major agriculture products are coffee, cocoa, coconuts, palm oil, timber, tea, and vanilla. So as can be said by these statistics, natural resources are now the major revenue earner for the country. Agriculture is not. Therefore, we, the opposing team, strongly rejects the topic of motion that agriculture is the backbone to the development of this country. It is now taken over by mining industry. Since the mining industry, it is now the major income earner for the country. It will continue to be the major revenue earner for PNG. We are saying this because, as stated in the report, PNG is rich in natural resources, so we believe that government, through the Department of Energy and Petroleum, has identified more locations of minerals in different provinces throughout the country. The mining sector will continue to be the major revenue earner for some years to come. We, the opposing team, would like to recommend that if the mining sector continues to support the economy of the nation, the money received from the mining industry can be used to support other industries, such as primary industry or agriculture sector, the secondary or manufacturing industry, and the services industry, such as tourism. This statement that agriculture is the backbone of this country is an overstatement made by a lot of politicians and bureaucrats. Every year is an overstatement for the sake of saying it, maybe to make them look good to the people. Therefore, my question to the government side, if you say that agriculture is the backbone to the development of PNG, can you tell me how many skilled laborers are there in a mining compared to agriculture? We are living in a technology age, so can agriculture provide enough for us to quickly develop to the standard of the developed countries? Therefore, we, the opposition team, definitely believe that agriculture is not the backbone to the development of the country. Thank you.
Thank you, first speaker of the opposition side. Now I'd like to call upon the second speaker of the affirmative side.
Good Good morning, judges, timekeeper, and the wonderful audience, and not forgetting my opposing team. Okay, first of all, I will be talking on the economic aspect of agriculture. My team and I strongly believe that agriculture is the backbone to the development of Papua New Guinea. Before I go on to my points, I'd like to rebut on what the first speaker of the opposing team has said. You stated that agriculture only contributes 30% to the GDP. It contributed 30% only, but it is, remember this, it is sustainable and can be renewed, while mining is a non-renewable and can't be sustained. Now to my points. Agriculture is a key component of the renewable sector that sustains the livelihood of more than 80% of the population that lives in rural areas, and the industry caters for over 25% of the workforce. In the formal sector, contributing 14% to the foreign exchange earnings and 25% to the gross domestic product. It provides markets for industries and the service sector and is a source of capital, labor products for other sectors. As stated in the PNG Export Directory, export prices have increased since 2004, with coffee prices at 3.8%, copra by 15.8%, copra oil by 27.1%, palm oil by 0.4%, and rubber by 24%. Now, cocoa. Cocoa industry in Papua New Guinea is a major contributor to the national income and employment. 1 million people, or 20% of the total population of Papua New Guinea, is dependent on cocoa as the source of cash income and livelihood. In the last 4 years, production of cocoa has reached 40,000 tons, with the crop now tagged a 200 million industry. Secondly, coconut. According to the Bank of Papua New Guinea, the coconut industry provides employment for 36% of rural households and engages about 25,000 people in the formal sector. Oil palm. Oil palm is the leader in the agriculture sector in PNG and produces up to 339,000 tons of palm oil worth 438.7 million. Oil palm is a very successful industry and has a very bright future for Papua New Guinea. It comprises of 5 milling companies, 44 independent estates, 17,000 smallholder growers. The oil palm industry all up provides employment for 18,000 people. Ever since the government took office in 2002, it has been looking for a number of ways to develop Papua New Guinea. And one of the plans that it came up with was known as the NADP, or the National Agricultural Development Plan. Because 97% land is owned by the people, and there are about 80,000 school leavers every year, and more than 87% of our people live in rural areas, the NADP, or the National Agricultural Development Plan, has set a motive to absorb these people with their natural resources to actively participate meaningfully in micro-agricultural development. The outcome of the NADP is expected to contribute 2.5% to 2 to 5% of the gross domestic product over the next 10-year period, provide income generation for over 63,000 Papua New Guineans with an estimated population of 441,000 people, or 8.3% of the national population. A lot of provinces depend on agriculture as the backbone to the development. For example, the Western Highlands, extracted from the PNG investment, Western Highlands depend highly on coffee and tea as a major development project. A classic example I'd like to share with you is Ramu Agri Industries. According to a recent interview with Sharon Onsa, she is the Public Relations Officer of Ramu Agri Industries. Since Ramu started operation in 1984, they employed about 3,700 people. And these people pay tax, but the tax does not go to the government. The tax goes to the development of that area, rural development. The agriculture industry, the Ramu Agri Industry, in partnership with the ADB, or the Asian Development Bank, What the ADB does is collects aid from the donor countries, and together with Ramu Agri Industries, they sit together and they work on plans on how to develop rural areas. And second example is the New Britain oil palm. It is employing about 80,000 people, and it is bringing a lot, and I mean a lot, of development to Papua New Guinea. Therefore, my team and I strongly believe that agriculture is the development to Papua New Guinea.
Thank you. That was the second speaker of the affirmative side. Now I'd like to call upon the second speaker of the opposing team.
Good morning, adjudicators, timekeeper, affirmative team, and my fellow audience. I am the second speaker of the opposition side, and firstly, before I bring up my points, I would like to rebut on the second speaker of the affirmative team. You said mining is a non-renewable resource. Now you can develop how can you develop Papua New Guinea with 100,000 kina? According to Mining, Minerals and Sustainable Development, mineral sector is a major contributor to both GDP to the export of this country. Now this brings me to my points. Looking at the current trend of development and economic activities, and of course the injection of money and the budgetary allocations to agriculture activities and the institution in Papua New Guinea, it is evident that the government is not seeing agriculture to be the backbone of the development in Papua New Guinea. If it was to be the backbone to development in Papua New Guinea, then why underfund it? It is not the backbone to development in Papua New Guinea. The backbone development to PNG, Papua New Guinea's development, as the Somara Temu says, it is the mining and petroleum. Takes Michael Somara's comments on the Post-Korea Wednesday, June 9th, where he said, Ramu nickel mine must and closure could be a fatal investment blow. Such comments confirm that agriculture is not the backbone to development in Papua New Guinea. If agriculture is the backbone to development in Papua New Guinea, in Papua New Guinea, where has the government set up the now extinct Fresh Marketing Board? Why have they ceased to exist? Simply because the government does not see agriculture as the backbone to development in Papua New Guinea. Another factor is the funding agriculture to our research agriculture stations, NARI in Caravat, East New Britain Province, and Ayura in Eastern Highlands Province, and the one just outside Port Moresby, Lalaki. If agriculture was the backbone to the development in Papua New Guinea, how come the very important institutions are not being funded very well? Look at the coconut plantation in East Sepik Province, Medang, East New Britain, just to name a few. They have been abandoned because despite a lot of work, there is little return. People have now abandoned their coffee, cocoa, copra gardens, or plantations to work in lucrative LNG projects where there are better conditions. Now that this is happening, where does agriculture fit in? Sorry, it is not the backbone to PNG's development, as people are seeing higher returns in the mining industry. As quoted in the Vision 2050, page 25, chapter 2, current scene and future scenarios 2.6, that the 4 pathways for economy are the base case, land reform, liquefied gas LNG project, and cumulative scenario. The base case is the minimum growth path possible if either the land reform agenda or the liquefied natural gas project is implemented, or if both are implemented, each will add incremental and transformational benefits to the base path. The cumulative scenario is one where all the activities of the first 3 scenarios take place simultaneously. This is one that combines the effects of the other 3 scenarios. Base case scenario. According to the National Research Institute, NRI, study project that from 2010 to 2020, the PNG economy will grow by 2% in real terms per year. This growth is possible through human resource development, the development of new technologies and adaptation of new efficient products and method and downstream processing. With inclusion of the liquefied natural gas projects, real GDP growth will be even higher according to the LNG project with the base case. It has been estimated that the real GDP per year will be 18.2 billion, which is approximately 9 billion above current annual GDP, by which Papua New Guinea real GDP is projected to reach between 15 billion and 24 billion, and per capita income to between 1,820 kina and 2,820 kina. Economic growth under the four described scenario will provide the means for government to deliver on its 7 pillar activities. In turn, improved infrastructure, human resource development, improved health service, and education facilities and institution improved, life expectancy will empower the people of Papua New Guinea to be wise, fair, smart, healthy, and happy. Ladies and gentlemen, let's be logic and more realistic. 2/3 economy mineral sector, while 1/3 agriculture. You take away agriculture, PNG, and its economy, Papua New Guinea will still be able to bring development. But you take away the mineral sector, and Papua New Guinea will just be washed down the drain. That is why we, the opposing team, strongly believe that agriculture is not the backbone to the development in Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the second speaker of the opposing team. Now I'd like to call upon the third speaker of the affirmative team.
Good morning, ladies, gentlemen, and adjudicators, as well as the timekeeper. Firstly, agriculture is the backbone of the development in PNG. Before I go into my points, I'd like to rebut on the points that the opposition team had brought up. They stated highly on mining, and they stated that mining is the only thing that's going to bring development. Okay, think about the rural population that depend heavily on agriculture. Are you saying that they should go and mine as well just to sustain themselves and live? You also stated that the government doesn't acknowledge agriculture as the backbone to the development in Papua New Guinea. Well, according to the Medium-Term Development Strategy 2005 to 2010, I quote from Michael Samare, he stated that agriculture is the backbone foundation of our rural economy and the heart of the nation. It produces all the food for subsistence and provides a base for employment and income generation for over 80% of the population. My government recognizes that agriculture has enormous potential and will continue to play an important role in sustaining the basic livelihood of our people. Now, on to my points. As undisputably presented by my teammates, yes, agriculture is the backbone to the development in Papua New Guinea. Government recognition of agriculture as the backbone to the development in PNG is seen by the emphasis government places on various policies and directives. The first policy that the government has recognized agriculture in is the fiscal policy. Fiscal policy is the measures employed by the government to stabilize the economy, specifically by manipulating the budget. The government, in its recent funding, has given the National Agriculture Development Program 100 million in its budget specifically to revive existing plantations of cocoa, copra, and coffee. It has also increased its allocation for rural development and infrastructure. The government has realized that by improving basic services, it will create an enabling environment for smallholders to mobilize their own resources for higher income. The government has also passed new formal sector legislation in 2003, for the rehabilitation and maintenance of PNG's transport system. It has recognized that by developing the transport system, it will enable produce to be moved to markets and goods and services to be delivered to the people. The government also, in recognition to agriculture as the backbone, has implemented the medium-term development strategy, which states that agriculture is the backbone. According to medium-term development strategy 2005 to 10, page 6 and paragraph 6, I quote, "If our nation is to take full advantage of global opportunities, we must focus our areas of competitive strength, embrace international best, and develop our manpower skills. Our traditional, I stress, traditional competitive strength lies in agriculture, forestry, and fisheries. Together with mining and petroleum, our emerging areas of strength are manufacturing, downstream processing, tourism, and gas. While agriculture, I stress, agriculture will remain the mainstay of the economy for decades to come." The next is the monetary policy enforced by the government. It is the use of the central bank by the government to control economic activities, such as the withdrawal of the hard kina policy, which was abolished by the Chen government in 1994 October, thus introducing the exchange rate policy, where our rates change depending on the world market. This policy is a major contribution to the limited expansion and investment in export crops. The sovereign fund is another potential in which the governments are looking at. This would involve parking of funds received from the mining boom offshore, and which, by doing that, it will control inflation, control exchange rate fluctuation, and strengthening of the PNG kina, making PNG exports less competitive on the market and allowing overseas countries to export from PNG. The next, rice is a staple food for PNGs. So I quote from the Minister of Agriculture, Matthew Sane. He stated that rice as a staple food for the people of PNG proposes a range of policy and programs. So it has developed diplomatic relationships with international countries to develop our rice industry, so PNG cannot import from overseas, export locally grown rice so we can all benefit from it. And there are establishments also set up by the government to promote agriculture, like the NDAL, National Development of Agriculture and Livestock, NARI, National Agriculture Research Institute, and so forth. It is a political will of the government in recognizing agriculture as the backbone to the development. Government maintains and enforces policy, international trade relations to enforce and maintain the agriculture sector. Any alternative other than agriculture is uncharted water for PNG, and PNG will definitely sink because it cannot be sustained on those. So my team and I strongly believe that agriculture is the backbone of the development in Papua New Guinea.
Thank you, third speaker of the affirmative side. Now I'd like to call upon the third speaker of the opposition side.
Thank you, Mistress of Ceremony. Good morning, adjudicators, timekeeper, opposition team, and, the opposing team and the lovely audience. I, the third speaker of the opposition team, would like to rebut on what the third speaker of the affirmative team had stated. You said that rice growing is increasing or something. Rice growing is done on a small scale in parts of the country. If agriculture is the backbone of this development in PNG, then growers should be encouraged to mass produce them. Take some areas like in the late 60s and early 70s, where rice was produced and milled here. One place that comes to mind is Banyik in the East Sepik province. Rice was produced and mass and milled there. People do not buy imported rice. If the agricultural activity is not supported, then agriculture is not seen as the backbone to the development in PNG. Otherwise, we will still import rice from Australia and continue to support their growth and development. Which brings me to my point, human resources. Human resource is the backbone of this country, not agriculture. Because of human, this country is running. Money is just sitting there, but people can go and use money. That is why human resources is the backbone of this country, not agriculture. If agriculture was to be the backbone in development for PNG, then what is the role of the National Development Bank? It is not doing enough to ensure the agriculture development projects which are supposed to be funded. It has to be empowered so it can assist the rural people with agriculture projects to ensure those projects contribute to the national development. Agriculture is not the backbone to the development of PNG. Why? Because the government has not given priority to them. The government has given priority to the mining sectors. Just look at buying of the Tolokuma mining, which was not profitable. If this was wise, is this wise investment? Is this sustainable? Agriculture is sustainable, and also resources in agricultural activities are renewable. The government has gone overseas and secured money, billions and billions of kina for the LNG project. That is their priority and not agriculture. So agriculture is not the backbone to PNG's development. Looking at all these, we can say that the government is not looking at the environmental damages that the mining projects are doing to the agricultural lands. The rivers and the seabed, while they do bring in money for development at the cost of costs, agriculture without causing environmental damages, if only supported, can be the backbone of development. As it is now, it is not the backbone to PNG's development. People too are not seeing agriculture to be the backbone to development in PNG. Take the central people who approached to grow vegetables to sell for the LNG project. They simply said they would rather plant and tender the betel nut farms as they did not involve a lot of labor and it is fast money. This is from the national newspaper on 7th June. Another sad scenario is the coffee industry. It has come to a standstill. Coffee prices are low. There is to be a stabilization and fund in the stabilized price of coffee, which ensured coffee was being produced if the prices was low. This enabled coffee producers to continue producing coffee. With the abolition of the stabilization fund, somewhat gave up looking after their coffee gardens and plantations. This really is a joke, so agriculture is not the backbone to PNG's development. You travel up the Highlands Highway, especially from the border of Simbu to the borders of Southern Highlands Province and Enga, you will see a lot of coffee gardens being neglected. They need to be rehabilitated if agriculture is to be the backbone of development. Otherwise, agriculture is not the backbone to PNG's development. With the recent global warming and climate change, do you think people will want to go back to their villages and work in the rice farm, planting cacao, rice, potato? What has agriculture given to PNG with this 13%? Is it going to benefit for the rest of this country's population? Therefore, we the opposition team strongly believe that agriculture is not the backbone of PNG's development.
Thank you, third speaker of the opposition side. This is the semi-finals of the NCD schools. The current schools debating are Kila Kila Secondary School and Kop Kop College. Their topic of discussion is agriculture is the backbone to the development of Papua New Guinea. Kila Kila is going for the topic and Kop Kop College is going against the topic. Now I'd like to call upon the final speaker of the affirmative side.
Thank you, Mistress of Ceremony. Okay, thank you. Good morning, judges, audience, debaters, as well as the rest of Papua New Guinea. I'm the fourth speaker of the affirmative team, and I will basically be summarizing the arguments brought forward by my teammates and I. Before I go on to my summary, I'd like to rebut on some of the points that are brought forward by the opposition. The opposition stated that human resource is the backbone to the development of Papua New Guinea, Well, let me ask you, what do humans survive on? I mean, we can't deny that we all need food to live off, right? Okay, and you also have to consider the long-term effects of mining and mining and logging and all this stuff. Mining, although it brings a lot of GDP and all this stuff to the economy, revenue to the economy, it is unsustainable and will eventually the resources will eventually be depleted or used up in the years to come. Okay, in the past, our ancestors have toiled the soil. They were hunters and gatherers. Because of agriculture sustaining them, they bore your grandparents, your parents, and eventually you. Our rural people will still live this way in the years to come. Mining income will only improve the living standards, but it is not the backbone to the development of Papua New Guinea. Okay, I'd like to quote what was said by Dr. Solon in his opening speech on Monday at 9:32 a.m. Dr. Solon said that agriculture is the backbone to the development of Papua New Guinea and can be sustained. Okay. Agriculture has always existed in Papua New Guinea. Evidence from the Wagi Valley suggests that agriculture existed over 50 to 60,000 years ago. Now, traditionally, PNG has always been an agricultural society. Our ancestors relied on the cultivation of soil that it may rear plants and crops and raise livestock to sustain their livelihoods. It also builds social relationships with neighboring villages through trade systems like the Kula trade. Now, PNG is an agricultural nation with huge potential. The agricultural sector plays a very important role in our nation's economy by providing broad-based income and employment to the vast majority of the population of Papua New Guinea, most of which live in rural areas and is engaged in subsistence, semi-commercial, and commercial farming. Current statistics from the National Agriculture Development Plan show that coffee production has increased an average rate of 3% per year since 1975. PNG exports have totaled 1.1 million bags in the last 10 years. Some destinations of our coffee exports being countries such as Germany, Australia, the United States, and Japan. Statistics also show that cocoa has earned an average of 192 million kina per annum over the last 5 years and accounts for 18% of all agricultural exports and 3.5% of all total exports. The coffee industry provides direct employment for approximately 50,000 people and cash income for approximately 1 million people. So if the coffee industry can sustain the livelihoods of over 16% of the population, then shouldn't more effort be put into strengthening the backbone to the development of Papua New Guinea, which is agriculture? And that is where the government has stepped in. The government, recognizing that agriculture is the backbone to the development of Papua New Guinea, has developed policies such as the fiscal policy, the monetary policy, international relations policy, and law and directives, as stated by my third speaker. Okay. The fiscal policy is basically the government using budget to influence agricultural activities through the means of medium-term development strategy. The monetary policy is use of central bank by government to control economic activities such as withdrawal of hard kina policy, lower interest rates, and the sovereign fund. With the international relation policy, technical assistance from Taiwan is provided from Taiwan for rice growing. And the tax and directives taxes to enable small-scale farmers an opportunity at competition on the world market. Okay, I'd like to quote a statement said by our Prime Minister, Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare in his foreword on the National Agricultural Development Plan 2007 to 2016 Policies and Strategies, Volume 1. Sir Michael stated, and I quote, "Agriculture is the backbone to the development of foundation of our rural economy and the heart of the nation. It produces food for subsistence and provides a base for employment and income generation for over 80% of the population." So as you can see, even our government recognizes that agriculture is the backbone to the development of Papua New Guinea. It has enormous potential and will continue to play an important role in sustaining the basic livelihoods of all people. The government has therefore developed the NADP, or National Agricultural Development Plan, which is basically a blueprint to guide our future directions in agriculture and rural development. Furthermore, the enormous potential of the agricultural sector will be realized through proper management and implementation of the National Agricultural Development Plan. As a renewable resource, agriculture will continue to support the future generations where non-renewable resources such as oil, gas, and minerals have declined or been depleted. The cost benefit of the plan reflects high economic returns and social benefits to the rural economy. It is projected that revenue from agriculture sector is capable of financing 40% of the national budget. Also, I'd like to quote, in an article in the Government Civil Rights edition on 28 of August 2009, the Deputy Prime Minister, Sepuka Temu, stated that agriculture has been the backbone of the country for 80% of the population. Okay, in a recent interview with Sharon Onsa, she stated that the Ramu agri-industry collects taxes from its employees and basically uses that tax to bring development into the areas surrounding the farms. This development includes roads, hospitals, schools, and other infrastructure. This is a classic example of agriculture bringing development into Papua New Guinea. So whether subsistence, semi-commercial, or commercial agriculture, PNG has always relied on agriculture to sustain our livelihood. It provides broad-based income and employment to the vast majority of the population. It builds foreign relations with other countries that import our produce. It is sustainable and guaranteed to last. I mean, if agriculture existed over 50,000 years ago, who's to say it won't continue to last for another 50,000 years, unlike mining and other sectors? It is projected that agriculture is capable of financing 40% of the national budget. And one of our team's recommendations is that revenue from mining projects should be used to strengthen the backbone to the development of Papua New Guinea, which is agriculture. With that, I'd like to conclude by saying that my team and I strongly and firmly believe that agriculture is the backbone to the development of Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
That was the final speaker of the affirmative side. Now we are going to have the final speaker of the opposition side.
Greetings, adjudicators, timekeepers, the opposing team, last but not least, one and all. My name is Daniel, and I am the fourth speaker of the opposition side, and I'm going to be summarizing for the negatives. Now, before I carry on, I'd like to rebut on the remaining points of what the government side has said. Now, government side stated earlier that 85% of population agriculture is helping to develop this, helping the 85%. Well, This is just to help the people in rural areas and the other population that is not employed. The country's development, the agriculture's GDP is 13%. That is just a minority. We're not saying that only agriculture, the only mining is the backbone of this country. There are other factors that are conducive to the income. That is, such as mining, fisheries, forestry, and other sources of income that Papua New Guinea can get. Now, the government side stated earlier that cocoa, coconut, oil palm, these are renewable resources that agriculture can use for the income of this country. And minerals are non-renewable. Well, it states in the Vision 2050, the plans that our leaders have put and established, it states that, and I quote, they established a sustainable development policies in all sectors, which include fisheries, forestry, agriculture, and it also includes mining. Now, physical development policy is what the government side stated earlier. This policy, as I have stated earlier, from my understanding, it's just to help the people in rural areas and the unemployment population, not the country's development. The fourth speaker mentioned mining and our ancestors depending on agriculture that they sustained themselves on. You have to come back to the light. We're not talking about our ancestors here. It's the development of this country and what agriculture can do to it. Now, we the opposition side are rejecting what the topic of motion are. We're saying this because, firstly, this statement, and I quote, agriculture is the backbone of this country, is just an overstatement that politicians and bureaucrats use. According to the Agriculture PNG report, agriculture's importance has steadily declined since 1985, when it made up 34% of gross development products, which is GDP. In 2001, agriculture only contributed 30% in GDP. Now, agriculture contributes about 13%. I repeat, 13% in GDP, according to Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific. Agriculture is not the only revenue earner here. We know that Papua New Guinea is a rich country. There are other sources of income such as forestry, which contributes 4%, marine, which contributes 1%, and a majority, mining and oil, contributing GDP up to 82%, according to the Bureau of East Asian Sustainable Development, and Pacific Affairs dated May 31st, 2010, taken off from the internet. Mining minerals and sustainable development, issue number 55, states that mining minerals sector is a major contribution to both GDP and export balances of the country. It also states in the Vision 2050, book page 3, that currently our economic is dominated by the mining and energy sectors. These sectors contribute, as I have stated earlier, 82% of our total export revenue. Take Sir Michael Somara's comments on Wednesday. On Wednesday, June 2010, where he said that Ramu nickel mine a must and closure could be a fateful investment blow. Such comments confirm that agriculture is not the backbone to the development of this country. Now, in summary to the negatives, I would like to once again emphasize that agriculture is not the development of PNG. Human resources and other factors are conducive to the development of PNG and not agriculture alone. Mining and social impacts such as development and infrastructure contribute to the development of this nation. Labor mobilization. People nowadays, they don't want to go back and sweat their guts out, gardening, all that, sustain on agriculture. Nowadays, we're living in a technological era which people want white-collar jobs. That's why there is rural urban drift and brain drain, whereas skilled people of Papua New Guinea are moving over to other countries to work and get more money. Now, to round off the debate for the negatives, we, the opposing team, would like to recommend that if the mining sector continues to support the economy of the nation, and not only just the mining sector, but other sources of income, such as fisheries, and as I stated earlier, the money received from these industries can be used to support other industries, such as the primary industry or agricultural sector, which is just a minority of GDP to this country, contributing to the development of this nation. The secondary or manufacturing industry and the service industry such as tourism. Therefore, we, the opposing team, definitely believe that agriculture is not the backbone of this country. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the final speaker of the opposition side. Please, a round of applause to the two teams. Now we are going to have a 5 minutes question time. 5 minutes question time from the audience. Any questions? Yes, a young lady from Marinville. Again, your questions should be questions, not so much of statements and no personal attacks. Again, participants should answer diplomatically. Thank you.
My question goes to the government side. The third speaker mentioned something about the sovereign funds controlling inflation. Okay, the question is, who manages sovereign funds? If he is an expatriate, then at whose interest is he managing the funds? And if he is a national, then how neutral is he to manage these funds?
Sorry, could you repeat your question again?
Okay, you mentioned something about sovereign funds controlling inflation. Okay, my question is, who manages sovereign funds? If he is an expatriate, then at whose interest is he managing the funds? And if he is a national, then how neutral is he to manage the funds?
Okay, the sovereign fund is a potential in which the current government is looking at. This will involve parking of our funds from mining booms offshore, which will be looked after by overseas countries which are economically developed, like Australia, but they'll be managing it for us to get it. We cannot introduce those extra funds into our economy, because by introducing it into our economy, it will cause inflation, it will cause a fluctuation in our exchange rate, and it will make PNG exports more competitive in the world market. Thus, by putting it offshore, it is like a security in which we can use to borrow money from overseas, as well as by keeping it offshore, it will control the inflation in our country, it will control the exchange rate, and make PNG exports, strengthening PNG Kina, making PNG less competitive in the world market, thus encouraging more overseas countries to invest or import more from Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? Young lady from Geru.
Okay, my question is directed to the affirmative team. Okay. If you say that agriculture is the backbone to the development of PNG, Since 1985 to 2001, it has declined to only 30% as an income to the country as GDP. Okay. What happens if we take away all the other departments that influence the development of this nation? What can only one department, which is agriculture, do to the development of PNG?
Sorry, can I ask you to repeat your question? Sorry. It's all right.
Okay, my question is, what happens if we take away all the other departments that influence the development of this nation? What can only one department, which is agriculture, do to the development of PNG?
Okay. First of all, our topic again is agriculture is the backbone to the development of Papua New Guinea, and not agriculture is the only backbone. Okay, agriculture is sustainable. Whereas mining, if we look at mining in particular, 30, 40 years from now, maybe our resources will run out. But agriculture can be sustained. And if you look at it, 80,000 school leavers is leaving school every year. And 85% of our population live in rural areas. Are you saying those women and children who wake up every morning and get food from agriculture to leave their land and go and do mining? Agriculture is the backbone to the development of Papua New Guinea. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to have one final question directed to the opposition side. Any question? Yes, St. Joseph's, please.
Hi, everyone. My question is directed to the opposition team. One of your members stated that, what has agriculture done for PNG? Well, according to archaeological evidence from the Cook site in Western Highlands Province, which dates back 10,000 years, it depicts Papua New Guinea as one of the earliest agricultural places, which is the birthplace of agriculture. So agriculture has sustained our civilization for thousands of years. So do you think it really is right to say that agriculture has done nothing for PNG? Because when you ask the question, what has agriculture done for PNG, you're implying that it has done nothing. So do you think it's right to say that?
Thank you for your question. Your question is it right to say that what agriculture is, that agriculture hasn't done anything to this nation? Okay, see, in the past, our ancestors, they depend wholly on agriculture. Okay, in today's era, it's a technological era and where we cannot depend wholly on agriculture. There needs to be other sources of income in which we can develop this nation, such as mining. So basically, I think it's like for in today's era, referring to today's era, it's agriculture hasn't done much, according to 13% of GDP, but mining and minerals is a majority, 82%, that is conducive to this GDP development of this nation. Thank you.
Thank you. That will be all for questions. Now we're going to have judges' remarks on these two debating themes. Thank you. We're going to have Dr. Solon to present this.
Thank you, the debating teams, all representing schools, and our participants, interested participants. As you will note, we enter into the finals of our competition, and we must admit to you that the challenge for adjudicating is very, very high, in the sense that you are the selected teams that have been asked to move forward. It means that you have some advantage over the others, although we are all winners in the team. So the adjudicators now are looking for fine details that will make the difference between your team moving forward into the finals and the majority. So there are issues that we're still looking at. For example, I need not go too much on the details because I think you need to look at those, and especially Mr. Kikira has explained to you the criteria that is available. It's not a hidden criteria. We all know about it, and it has explained to you. So our advice to you is we are looking for that special edge. And we cannot tell you what that special edge is. That special edge is dependent on your team presenters who look for that. Again, the issue of rebuttal is an important one. For me, that's an indication of a person or a debating member who can very quickly assess a situation with their background knowledge of the issue, who can come back with counter arguments. That demonstrates that you are thinking and thinking very quickly. It's an indicator of a thinking person. And we look for issues like that. So please, we encourage you to continue to debate and to think intellectually and to argue, but more importantly, remember, you are the selected ones that are moving forward, and we are going to look for the discriminating element that will make a difference. And there are a lot of it here. Please follow up with the criteria here, but more importantly, we're looking for your ability to respond on the spot and to think of new issues. There are some issues that may be common to all of us. But these issues, they are issues that you can draw on implications. If the data say this, and this is the situation, what if? Look for issues like that. If this is the situation, how can we progress from that? Or if this is the situation, the implication is maybe we may not be doing this. These are issues we would like you to explore. And that and we look we depend on your ability to do that. Whilst we have the challenge, we would like to encourage you to continue, but more importantly, to look for that little edge that will put your team forward. On that note, we encourage the debaters to continue. It's a challenging experience, but we are learning from the intellectual contributions of our young people, and that is very important. These issues, as we said yesterday, will continue to be the agenda for our nation, and 50 years is not long. 50 years is your years. Some of us will be spectators, and we will be clapping you on, but we look forward to you to lead our country, and we are encouraged because you are telling us you can do it. You can do it. So tell us more about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Solon. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for the two teams, Kila Kila Secondary and the Cobb College. As they leave the stage, Kila Kila participants were Doreen Ugaya, Anna Babani, Liana Bayo, and Cassandra Isa. Thank you, Kila Kila Secondary School. Cobb College students were Roger Kumun, Elizabeth Akirem, Tanya Kiki, and Daniel Vanalau. Thank you, Cobb College students.